मन चित्त वे उद्यम जा आहर हर जियो पारया सैल पत्थर में जंत पाए ताका रिजक आगे कर तरया मेरे माधो जी सत्संगत मिले सुतरया और प्रसाद परम पद पाया सुखे काष्ठ हरया रहाओ जनन पिता लोक सूत बनता कोई ना किसकी तरया सिर से रिजक जम संभाहे ठाकुर काहे मन पाओ करया उड़े उड़ आवे से को इस पाछे पचड़े छरया इन कवन खलावे कवन चुगावे मन में सिमरन करया सब निधान दस अष्ट सिद्धांत ठाकुर कर तल तरया जन नानक बल बल सद बल जाय तेरा अंत ना पारा वरया
रागासा महला चौथा सुपरक कंका चक्र प्रसाद सुपरक निरंजन हर परक निरंजन हर अगमा अगम पारा सब त्यावे तुझी असत्य सृजनहारा सजीत मारे जी तुझिया का दातारा हर त्यावो संत जी सदुप प्रसादनहारा हरापे ठाकुर हरापे सेवक जी शानानक चल पिचारा फुकट कटंत संदनंत जी हरे को परक्समाना गाते बेखारी जी सतेने चोज विनाना तू आपे दाता आपे पुक्ता जी हो तद्वे नवन जाना तू पार ब्रह्म बयान जी तेरे क्या को नाक पकाना जो सेवे तुझी चनानक दिन करवाना हर त्यावे तुझी सेजन में जग में सबवासी सेमकत पेजिन हर त्याया जी दिन टूटी जम की फांसी जिन हन्ने पाओ त्याया जी दिन का पाओ सब कबासी जिन सेव्या मेरा हर जी ये हर रूप समासी से तन जिन हर त्याया जी जनानिक दिन बल जासी तेरी पकड़ पंडा जी परे बेंता तेरे पकड़ सलाहंत जी हर अनेक अनंता तेरे अनेक करे हर पूजा जी तब तापे जबे बेंता तेरे अनेक परे बोसम रचा सजी कटकरिया कर खट करंता से पकड़ ले नानक जी जो पावे मेरे हर पग बनता तू आग पर का परंपर करता जी तो जेवड़ बना कोई तू जुग एको सदा तू एको जी तू नेचर करता सोए तो दाबे पावे सोए वैते जी तू आपे करे सो होए तू दाबे शिष्य सब पाए जी तू दाबे सब कोई जिन्ना न गावे करते कि जी जो सबसे का जाने हुई
आसा महला चौथा तू करता सचार मेटा साई जो तो पावे सोई थीसी जो तू दे सोई हो पाए रहाओ सब तेरे तू सबने त्याया जिसनो कृपा के तिन कहे तिन नाम रतन पाया गुरमुख लादा मन मुकवाया तुझ आप विछोड़या आप मिलाया तू दयाल सब तुझी माए तुझ बिन दूजा कोई नाय जी जंत सब तेरा खेल वो जो मिल विछोड़या संजोगे मेल जिसनो तू जानाए सोई जन जाने हर गुण सधी आँख बखाने जिन हर सेव्या तिन सुख पाया सहजे ही हर नाम समाया तू आपे करता तेरा किया सब होए तुझ बिन दूजा अवर न कोय तू कर विखे जाने सोय जन नानक गुरमुख प्रगट होए
Asamala baila tetsa varere mena vasa pane pave tinkya panglish mong pangne chale हम कीते डूबलिए माने संजेत स्मरणा हर विषय तेरे गल रहा ना हो जत स्थिति में पर्या मूर्ख मुक्त जन्म प्या नमक नानक तिनके शरणा जंतु नाये विस्त्या
आसा मेला पंचवा भाई प्राप्त मनमुख तो हरिया गोबन मिलन की ए तेरी भरिया अवर काश तेरे किते नाकाम मिले साध संगत बज केवल नाम शरण जम लग पव जल तरन के जन्म वृथा जात रंग माया के रहा जब तम संजम धर्म न कमाया सेवा साध न जानिया राया कौना न खम नीच कर्मा शरण परे की आखो शर्मा
पातशाही दसवीं कवि आवाज बेनती चौपाई हमरे करो हाथ दे रच्छा पूरन होए
चित की इच्छा तब चरणन मन रह हमारा अपना जान करो प्रतिपारा हमरे दुष्ट बह तुम गावो आप हाथ दे मोए पजावो सुखी बसै मोरो परवारा सेवक सिख सबह करतारा मोरे छानिज कर दे करिए सबैर इनको आज संगरिए पूर्ण होए हमारी आशा तोर भजन की रह प्यासा तुम्हें छाड़ कोई अवर न त्याओ जो पर चाहो सो तुम ते पाओ सेवक सिख हमारे तारिय चुन चुन सत्र हमारे मारिय आप हाथ दे मुझे उबरिय मरण काल का त्रास निवरिय जो सदा हमारे पच्छा श्रीयस तुझ्यो करो रच्छा राख लियो मोय राखन हारे साहिब संत सहाय प्यारे दीन बांधो शन के हंता तुम हो प्रीच दस कंता काल पाए ब्रह्मा बप्तरा काल पाए शिव जी अवतरा काल पाए कर बिसन प्रकाशा सकल काल का किया तमाशा जवन का जो की शिव कियो भेद राज ब्रह्मा जो थियो जवन का सब लोक सवारा नमस्कार है ताय हमारा जब उनका सब जगत बनायो दे तज छन उपजायो आद अंत एक है अवतारा सोई गुरु समझियो हमारा नमस्कार तिसी को हमारी सकल प्रजा जिन आप सवारी शिव गण गो शिव गुण सुख दियो सतरन को पल मोहब्बत कियो काट काट के अंतर की जानत भले बुरे की पीर पछानत चीटी ते कुंचर अस्तुल्ला सपर कृपा दृष्ट कर फुल्ला संतन दुख पाए ते दुखी सुख पाए साधुन के सुखी एक एक ही पीर पछाना है कट कट के पट पट की जाना है जब उदकरख करा करता रहा प्रजा तर तब दे अपारा जब आकरख करत हो कब हूँ तो मैं मिलत दे दर सब हूँ जेते बदन श्रेष्ठ सब तारे आप अपनी बूझ उचारा तुम सब हीते रहत निरालम जानत भेद अर आलम निरंकार निर्कार निर्लंब आद अनील अनाद असंभ ताका मूर उचारत भेदा जाको भेद न पावत भेदा ताको कर पाहन अनमानत महामूर कछ भेद न जानत महादेव को कहत सदा शिव निरंकार का चीनत न पहल आप अपनी बुध है जेती वर्णित पिन पिन तोय तेती तुमरा लखा न जाए सारा क्या बे सजा तम संसार एक रूप अनूप स्वरूपा रंग पे और आप कई पूपा अंड जेरज से तजकीनी उत्बुज खान बहुरज दीनी कौम फूल राजा है बैठा कौन समिट पे संकरी कैठा सकरी शिष्ट दिखाए अचंबो आज गाद स्वरूप से अम्ब अब इच्छा मेरी तुम करो सिख उबार असिख संग करो दुष्चिते उठवत उत्पाता सकल मलेच करो रंगाता जे अस्तुजता सरणी परे तिनके दुख थे मरे पुरिक जवन पग परे तिहारे तिनके तुम संकट सब तारे टारे जो कल को एक बार तिया है ताकि कान कटने आए है रक्षा होए ताए सब काला दुष्ट अरिष्ट टरे तत्काला कृपा दृष्टन जाइन हर हो ताके ताप तनक मो हर हो रिद सिद्ध कर्मो सब होई दुष्छाछ में सके न कोई एक बार जिन तुम्हें सुमारा काल पास देता है उबारा जिन्नर नाम त्यारो का दारे दुष्ट दोखते रहा खर खेत में शरण तिहारी आप हाथ दे लियो उबारी सरब ठोर मोह सहाई दुष्ट दोखते लियो बचाई खर खेत में शरण तिहारी आप हाथ दे लियो उबारी सरब ठोर मोह सहाई दुष्ट दोखते लियो बचाई
सवैया पाहे गहे जब ते तुमरे तब ते को आंख तरे ने यानियो राम रहीम कुरान अनेक कहे मत एक ना मानियो सिरमत सासुद बेद सबे बहु भेद कहे हम एक ना जानियो श्री अस्पान कृपा तुमरी कर मैं ना कहो सब तो वखानियो दोयरा सगल द्वार को छाड़ के गयो द्वारो द्वार पाहे गहे की लाज अस गोविंद दास तुहार
नाम क्या मैं माए सब यूं मैं पाया ये गोता पाया साहिब स्थिति इनके गोता पाया साहिब स्थिति मन विज्ञान वदाइयां राग तन पर बाल पड़ियां शब्द गावन आइयां तो दो तन गावो हरि केरा मन जिन्हें वसाया कहे नानक आनंद हुआ सब ध्रुव मैं पाया ए मन मेरे तुम सरल हो नाले हनार हो तू माने मेरे दुख सब विसारना दिमाग ग्लास में माफ स्वामी सत्य मनो तुम्हारे तुम्हारना मेरे सारे हनार हो तू माने मेरे दुख सब विसारना अंगीकार ओ करे तेरे अंगीकार ओ अंगीकार और करे तेरा कार्य सब वर्ण दिमाग लासी मास हम सोके मनो विसारी कहे नानक मन मेरे सदा रहो हर नाले साचे साहेबा क्या नहीं का तेरे करता तेरे सब कुछ है जिसे जैसो पावे जिससे ऐसो पावे सुरा से ला तेरी नाम मन विसावे नाम जिनके मन में वसिया बाजू सब नेरे कहे नानक सच्चे साहब क्या नहीं का तेरे साचा नाम मेरा आधारो साच नाम आधार मेरा जिन भुखा सब गवाइयां कर शांत सुखमन आए विस्या जिन इच्छा सब पुजाइयां खुदा कर बांध की तागर विठो जिसने ए विधियाइयां कहे नानक सुनो संतो सबुद करो करो प्यारो साचा नाम मेरा आधारो वाजे पंच शब्द को कर्स पागे शब्द वाजे कला जिसका तानिया पंच दूत बस पीछे काल कंटक माया तो कर्म पाया तो जिनको से नाम हर के लागे कहे नानक कैसो खोआ तिकर अनहद बाजे आनंद सुनो सुनो वडभाग्यो सगल मनोरथ पूरे पार ब्रह्म पाया उतरे सगल वसूरे दुख शोक संताप उतरे सुनी सुखी पानी हंस साजन पैर सत्य पूरे गोते जानी सत्य पुनीत कहते प्रत सबको यहाँ पर पूरे धनवंत नानक को चरण लागे बाजे अनहद पूरे
मुंडावनी मेला पंजवा थाल विस्तिन वस्तु पयो सत्संतो विचारो अमृत नाम ठाकुर का पयो जिसका शब्द सदारो जेको खावे जेको पुंचे तिसका होए उदारो ए वस्त तजी नहीं जाई नित नित रख उतारो तम संसार चरण लग तरिय सब नानक परम पसारो
kita jatuh menujagati dari menegana are kagana nahi ape tersepe oi tersepe mata hoi satgur sajana nane a nanak nama lata jiwa tana mana tira hare tarsapya mehamat hoi satgur sajana nane a nanak nama lata jiwa tana mana tira hare वाहिगुरु खालसा वाहिगुरु जी फतेह
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह रामकली की वार राय बलवंत थथा सत्य डूम आखी एक ओंकार सतगुर प्रसाद नौकर ताका दर करे क्यों बोल होवे जो की विदय दे गुना सत पैन पराव है पार अंगत दान परी विदय नानक राज चलाया सच कोट सतानी नीव दे रहने तरियों छत सिर कर सिफती अमृत पीव दे मत कर आत्म देव दी खरब जोग परा कोई जीव दे गुर चेले रह रास की नानक सलामत थी दे सै टिक्का दितो सजीव दे
लहने दी फिराइया नानका दो ही खटिया जोत ओहा जुगत साए सहकाया फिर पलटिया चुला सो छत निरंजनी माल तख्त बैठा गुर हटिया करे जे गुर फरमाया सिल जोग अलूनी चटिया लंगर चले गुर शब्द हर तोड़ न आया खर्चे दित खसम दी आप खैदी खैर तपटिया होवे सिर्फ खसम दी नूर अरसो कुरसो चटिया तुद डिठे सच्चे पातशाह मल जन्म जन्म दी कटिया सच जे घोर फरमाया क्यों एंदू बोलो हटिया पुतरी कोल ना पालियो कर पीर हो कर मुरटिया दिल खोटा आखी फिरन बन पार उचायन छटिया जिन आखी सोई करे जिन कीती तिना थटिया कौन हारे किन उवटिया
जिनकी ती सो मनना को साल जवाहिर साली धर्मराय है देवता लय कला करे दलाली सतगुरु आखे सचा करे सब बात होवे नरहाली गुरु अंगद ती दोही फ्री सच करते वन बहाली नानक काया पलट कर मल तकत बैठा सह डाली तरसे वे उमत करी मस्कले हुए जंगाली दर दर वेस कसम दे नाए सच्चे बानी लाली बलवान की विने जन जिस पोती छा पुत्राली लंगर दौलत वंडिया रस अमृत खीर खियाली गुरसिखा के मुख उजले मनमत थिए पराली पे कपूल खसमनाल जा काल मरती गाली माता की विशो सोए जिन गोए उठाली
गंग वहाय दुनियाए आखे के क्यान नानक ही सज्जतनार ओ छदी वैन वेरे क्यान मादाना पर्वत कर नेत्र बासक सबद ऋण क्यान चौदे रतन निकालियन कर आवा गौण चिल क्यान कुदरत एवे खालियन जिन एवट पिठेड़े क्यान लैने तरियों छत्र सिर आसमान ख्याड़ा छिक्यान जोत समानी जोत माए आप आपे से तीम क्यान सिखा पुत्रा पोख क्या सब उमत वे खोजे क्यान जास दोस्ता लाना टिक्यान
फेर वसाया फेरवान सतगुर खाडूर जब तब संजम नाल तुद होर मुझ गुरूर लव विहाणे मानसा जो पानी बूर वरिया दरगह गुरु की कुदरती नूर जित्सो हाथ न लभई तो तू ओठरूर नौ निद नाम निदान है तुद विच भरपूर निंदा तेरी जो करे सो मंग्या चूर नेरा दिसा मात लोग तुझ सुझै दूर फेर वसाया फेरवान सतगुर खाडूर
सो टिका सो बैणा सोई दीवान पिऊ दादे जेवहा पोता परवान जिन बासक नेत्रै कत्या कर नेही ताण जिन समुंद विरोलिया कर मेर मतान चौंदे रत निकालेण की तोन जानान घोड़ा की तो सहजदा जत कियो पलान तणख चढ़ायो सत दा जस हंदा बाण कल विच तू अंधार सा चढ़िया रह भाण सतो खेत जमायो सतो छावान नित रसोई तेरी है क्यों मैदा खान चारे कुंडा सुजियो मन में सबद परवान आवा गौण निवारियो कर नदर निसान ओ तरया ओ तार लै सो पुरख सजान झखड़वाओ न डोले पर्वत मेरान जाने बिरथा जी की जानी हूँ जान क्या साला ही सच्चे पातशाह जातू सुगड़ सुजान दान जिस सतगुर भावसी सो सत्य दान नानक हंदा छतर सिर उम्मत हैरान सो टिका सो बैणा सोई दीवान प्यो दादे जे विहा पोतरा परवान
धन धन रामदास गुरु जिन सिरिया तनै सवारिया पूरी होई करामात आप सर्जन हारे तारिया सिखी अपने संगति पार ब्रह्म कर नमस्कारिया अटल अथा अतोल तू तेरा अंत न पारा वारिया जिन्नी तू सेव्या पाव कर से तुझ पार उतारिया दब लो काम क्रोध मोह मार कटे तुझ सपरवारिया तन सो तेरा थान है सच तेरा पैस कार्या नानक तू लैना तू है गुर अमर तू विचारिया गुर डिठा ता मन सदारिया चारे जागे चोरगी पंचायन आपे होआ अपीने आप साजियोन आपे ही थम कलोआ आपे पट्टी कलम आप आपे लिखन हारा होआ सब उम्मत आवन जावनी आपे ही नवा नरोआ तखत बैठा अर्जुन गुरु सतगुर का खिवे चंदोआ उगवनो ते आदवनो सच चो चकी कियन लोआ ਜਿਨੀ ਗੁਰ ਨਾ ਸੇਵਿਓ ਮਨ ਮੁਖਾ ਪਇਆ ਮੋਆ ਦੁਨੀ ਚੋਨੀ ਕਰਮਾਤ ਸੱਚਾ ਕਾ ਸੱਚਾ ਟੋਆ ਚਾਰੇ ਜਾਗੇ ਚੋਦਗੀ ਪਰਚਾਇਨ ਆਪੇ ਹੋਆ ਦੁਨੀ ਚੋਨੀ ਕਰਮਾਤ ਸੱਚਾ ਕਾ ਸੱਚਾ ਟੋਆ ਚਾਰੇ ਜਾਗੇ ਚੋਦਗੀ ਪੰਚਾਇਨ ਆਪੇ ਹੋਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ.
We'll have one Shabbat today by Srup Gorji. She's ready.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ. ਬਿਨ ਹਰਿ ਨਾਮ ਨਾ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਹੋਏ ਕਿਤ ਬਿਦ ਮਨ ਧੀਰੇ ਬਿਨ ਹਰਿ ਨਾਮ ਨਾ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਹੋਏ ਕਿਤ ਬਿਦ ਮਨ ਧੀਰੇ ਸੁੰਦਰ ਸੇਜ ਅਨੇਕ ਰਸ ਕੋ ਮਨ ਪੂਰੇ ਸੁੰਦਰ ਸੇਜ ਅਨੇਕ ਰਸ ਕੋ ਮਨ ਪੂਰੇ ਗ੍ਰਹਿ ਸੋਇਨਾ ਚੰਦਨ ਸੋਗੰਧ ਲਾਏ ਮੋਤੀ ਗ੍ਰਹਿ ਸੋਇਨਾ ਚੰਦਨ ਸੋਗੰਧ ਲਾਏ ਮੋਤੀ ਬਿਨ ਹਰਿ ਨਾਮ ਨਾ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਹੋਏ ਕਿਤ ਬਿਦ ਮਨ ਧੀਰੇ ਬਿਨ ਹਰਿ ਨਾਮ ਨਾ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਹੋਏ ਕਿਤ ਬਿਦ ਮਨ ਧੀਰੇ ਮਨ ਇੱਛੇ ਸਨਮਾਨ ਦਾ ਕਿਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਸੂਰੇ ਮਨ ਇੱਛੇ ਸਨਮਾਨ ਦਾ ਕਿਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਸੂਰੇ ਸੋ ਪਰਜਿਤ ਨਾਮੇ ਵਿਸਨਾ ਕੇ ਕੀਰੇ ਸੋ ਪਰਜਿਤ ਨਾਮੇ ਵਿਸਨਾ ਕੇ ਕੀਰੇ ਬਿਨ ਹਰਿ ਨਾਮ ਨਾ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਹੋਏ ਕਿਤ ਬਿਦ ਮਨ ਕੀਰੇ ਬਿਨ ਹਰਿ ਨਾਮ ਨਾ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਹੋਏ ਕਿਤ ਬਿਦ ਮਨ ਧੀਰੇ ਕਿਤ ਬਿਦ ਮਨ ਧੀਰੇ ਕਿਤ ਬਿਦ ਮਨ ਧੀਰੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. That was a very lovely program to hear from all of you doing all your part together. And what a beautiful Shabbat Srup Gaur ended us with. Bin Haranam Nashant Hoy Kit Bid Man Tire. And it's such beautiful lines talking. The Shabbat talks about how we can essentially have everything in the entire world, all of the things that might give us all the pleasures or all of what we might consider to be good things and make us so happy. But without Waheguru's Nam, there's like some really graphic imagery of how just in the dirt, like maggots we are without Waheguru's Nam. And I think in this time, as we like spend time together talking about the things that are important to us, it's good to remember this in the back of our minds, that that the only thing we really need is Vaikrusnam to keep us blissful. So we're gonna talk a little bit today about giants. And is there a way I can see all of the kids? We're gonna share this screen so that I can show you some slides, but I also want to be able to see you guys. Okay, I guess that works. I just can't see it. Yeah. Pull up the participants. Okay. So if I say the word giants, what do you guys generally think of? Like, who has heard of a giant? Go ahead, Janab Singh, unmute yourself.
A big person that is stomps on people and is big and mean and feasts on people.
Yes, a big mean guy. Right. Okay. And let's see, Harsimran Kaur.
So in Harry Potter, there's in one of the chapters there's a troll. So I think of the troll.
Okay, you think of the troll. So speaking of Harry Potter, does anybody think of Hagrid? Because Hagrid is a giant. Hagrid is a nice giant. So the word giant for all of you guys, probably like Janab Singh said and like Gursevak Singh said, sometimes brings up images of like a gruesome character. But in this setting, when we talk about our giants, if you can read that quote on there, can somebody go ahead and read it out loud for the group? Let's see, hands up. Anil Kaur.
The quote says, "If I have seen farther than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants." Isaac Newton.
Okay, anyone know who Isaac Newton is? Like, who is that guy? Anybody? Gurjot Kaur?
He discovered gravity.
Yeah, he like made rules about, or he discovered the rules about gravity. Yes. He was like a great scientist in like the late 1600s. He was a philosopher. He discovered lots of things and tried educating people about lots of things. So what does anyone think he means by this quote? Like if you're standing on Hagrid, or like what is this quote trying to tell us? What do we mean by if we see further than others, it is because we are standing on the shoulders of giants? What does that image kind of mean? Let's see. Gavroop and Sarup Kaur?
Well, I think this quote means that like if I have seen further than others, it is by standing upon the shoulders of giants. I think that it's like if I like seem smarter, if I seem like to have more wisdom than you, it's only because I've had the help of these people that are so much bigger than me.
Very good. That's like a really good interpretation. Any other additional thoughts anyone had? Sachvir, you had your hand up too.
I was going to say that if you have like more knowledge than someone else, it comes from someone else who's always been a role model.
Sure. Good. That's another way of interpreting. Anil Kaur, you got something else to add?
Yeah, I agreed with what the Rupkor said, that I know that Isaac Newton, he like also expanded on a bunch of laws that were already existing, and he just added to them using the information he had already received before him. So if you get to discover something new, it's probably because lots of people also researched and they gathered facts, and you can also just like, take their facts, compile it, and use it to discover something new.
Yes, very good. So this quote kind of started in a science world of this idea that we discover truth by building on others' previous discoveries, and that we can see further than the people behind us only not because we are greater or have better vision or have better skill sets, but because we are lifted up by these people before us, that these others have lifted us up. It's like we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and now we can see so much further. And this concept moved not just in the science world of being able to do more or see more or be greater because of the people that have come before you, because of standing on their shoulders, has moved forward into other constructs within our society. So like when the civil rights movement happened, people talked about how great change happened because they stood on the shoulders of those who had come before them, those who had sacrificed before them, so that further change can happen. And it's a good way of helping us remember that no matter what greatnesses we might accomplish or we think we might accomplish, it is only really happening because of the efforts and sacrifices of so many others that have come before us. So we're going to talk a little bit today about these giants, and particularly who are the giants in our history. So anyone have like a favorite giant from our history that they want to share, like somebody that stands out for them in history? I keep forgetting. Anil Kaur, go ahead.
I would say like definitely one of the people in my top 5 would be my Pagor Mata Pagor, because not only did she have like really strong love for her guru and like a really strong connection with her guru, she was also like one of the like very strong female figures, and she inspired other females in the Panth not to be shy and, you know, like you have the same rights as men.
Okay, good. I like it. Anyone else have someone else in our history that they consider to be a giant? Gurjot Kaur?
The Char Sahibzade, because they, even though they were young, they fought for freedom.
Yes, like had so much bravery at such a young age. It has instilled like this ability for so many others to have bravery just like them. Great. Anyone else have another favorite? You can like use the hand raise feature and then I'll be able to see you. Amin Kaur? Oh, no, sorry, Simran? Simran Kaur?
I think Guru Harkrishan Ji, because he helped even though he was young, so kind of the same as Gurjot Kaur.
Yeah, like even became like so in tuned with being a sevak of the guru that he became the guru himself. Very good. And we'll maybe take one more, Harsimran Kaur, or one of the 3 of you in that label.
Banda Singh Bahadur, because after the Gurus passed away, he kept the Sikhs strong.
Yes. How did he keep the Sikhs strong? Do you remember?
By reading, by still doing seva.
Yeah. Yeah, he like took the instructions of Guru Gobind Singh and he liberated so many people. Liberated meaning like freed them from the shackles of the terror that was around them. And he did so even at the cost of his life. But yes, he instilled so much pride for Sikhi and for serving the Guru and all those around him. So all really great examples of giants in our history. And when I first started thinking about this idea of who were the giants in our history, you know, I also thought of many of the same people that you have said. Baba Zorawar Singh Ji, Baba Fateh Singh Ji. I thought of Bhai Kanhaiya, who served water and nourishment to what we might consider to be enemies because he saw the face of Guru Gobind Singh Ji in all. I think about Bhagat Puran Singh, who was like the biggest sevadar in the 20th century. And even of like people like Bhaivir Singh Ji and Professor Saib Singh, who researched so much and spread Sikhi amongst so many of us, even in modern times. But when I did start thinking about this, and Anil Kaur mentioned Mata Kaur, I did realize that we didn't have so many stories of the Sikh women giants in our history. And I tried to look into finding out about more of them. And I did find some, and not a lot, but I thought maybe I could share with you all some of the stories of some of our Sikh women giants. So this one, Mata Kivi Ji. Anyone know who she is? Who's this lady? Harsimran Kaur, go ahead.
She, alongside with Guru Angad Dev Ji, helped build the fundamentals of langar and like kind of change the perspective of langar.
Yes, she is kind of the mastermind behind the whole langar plan. Very good. Any other facts anyone knows about Mata Kivi Ji? So Mata Kivi Ji, like Harsimran Kaur, is wife of Guru Angad Dev Ji. She was born in 1506, and she is most recognized for her commitment to Langar Seva. But what many don't really know about Mata Kivi is that she lived for 30 years after Guru Angad Dev Ji died. And sometimes we don't think about what happens to the other people. Like we hear stories of our history and we think about Guru Angad Dev Ji and then Guru Amar Das Ji became the next Guru. But we don't think about all of the other Sevadars of that time and what happened to them and where did they go. But Mata Kivi actually served through the life of 5 gurus. So she served Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Angad Dev Ji, Guru Amar Das Ji, Guru Ram Das Ji, and Guru Arjan Dev Ji. She was so well recognized in the Sikh Panth as such a crucial person that helped solidify and bring the entire community together. She actually has a place in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Has anyone heard her name anywhere? Because maybe you all just said it today. Anybody remember? Binti Kaur? Go ahead and just speak up a little bit.
In Ramkali ki War?
Yes, in Ramkali ki War. Balwand Kivi Nek Jan Jis Boti Chau Patrali Langar Dolat Vandiya Ras Amrit Kheer Khyali. You guys have been saying it like every Thursday evening. And the thing is what's really special about this is there are actually very few names of people mentioned in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji at all. Mata Kivi is one of herself, and then like Lerna Ji is mentioned, or Guru Amar Das, Guru Ram Das, but otherwise there's no other names of people. But Mata Kivi has a place in Guru Granth Sahib as being remembered in our history as such a nurturing person for the entire community. And you have to remember that Guru Nanak Sahib's Raj that's talked about in Ramkali ki War is about bringing an entire community together, people who had felt like they were left in the shadows and had no place to go. And where did they come? They came to the Guru and they were nurtured by Mata Kivi. In fact, Mata Kivi was so renowned that the last line in this body of Ramkali ki War is Mata Kivi so soy jin goy utali. So if you think about what this line is saying is how great the husband of Mata Kivi is. And it's another way that Guru Sahib has exalted or uplifted women, because many times in history and even today, we might say, oh, she is the daughter of, Bismat Kaur is the daughter of Mandeep Singh. Or we might say like, she is the wife, like their father is so-and-so. But because we often tend to go towards the male figures of a family to identify who else belongs in that family. But in this family, Guru Angad Sahib, who's like so amazing actually, is referred to in this line as the husband of Mata Kivi. She becomes the identifying factor because her and Bhai Lerna actually served Guru Nanak Dev Ji quite extensively. So another one, this is one of my favorites. And I think we even have a Sangat member here with this name, Bibi Amro Ji. Anybody know who was Bibi Amro? You can raise hands if you think you remember her. Go ahead, have they sing you want to say?
Bibi Amro is the one who taught Baba Amar Das about Sikhi.
Very good. Bibi Amro was the daughter of Mata Kivi and the daughter of Guru Angad Dev Ji. She was born in 1532, And she's the one who really introduced Guru Amar Das Ji to the teachings of the Guru. She was singing a Shabad as Guru Baba Amar Das at the time was next door, and he heard the words coming from her mouth and just became enchanted with who could have said these words, who could have created this beautiful Bani. And he learned about the Guru from Bibi Amro. She was the one who introduced him to the Guru. And then Baba Amar Das came and did so much seva for Guru Angad Dev Ji and created such a beautiful love story with Guru Angad Dev Ji that he became the next Guru. But Bibi Amro, beyond even introducing Guru Amar Das Ji to Guru Angad Dev Ji, also served Guru Amar Das in helping to set up the Sikh nation. So Guru Amar Das Ji set up, like, the Sikhs were starting to spread out all around Punjab, and he couldn't be in all places at all times. So he divided up the areas that Sikhs were staying into 22 manjis, is what they called them. And then there was a leader of each manji, almost like maybe you might think of like a province or a state or a city or a town. So there's like a leader or a mayor of that area. And he set up these 22 mayors of the different towns. 3 of them happened to be women, and 1 of them was Bibi Amro. And in this role, what these mayors did, or the manjidars did, is that they spread Guru Sahib's message, but they also collected revenue. They collected the swand, and they figured out how that the swand was going to be spent to help nourish the communities around them. They were administrators and leaders of groups of people. So not all of our Sikh sevadars or Sikh women, even maybe we give the image of only working in like langar halls or doing that kind of seva. They did that seva, and they also led entire groups of people and were political leaders of their time. So really amazing stuff for Bibi Amro. All right, we'll move on to another one that has a name that I'm sure you are all familiar with. Mata Gujari. Anyone can tell us who is Mata Gujari Ji? Binti Kaur, you have a hand up.
It's Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's wife and Jar Sahibzade's.
I think you just faded off at the end there. Jar Sahibzade's
grandmother, I think.
Grandmother, good.
And Guru Gobind Singh Ji.
And Guru Gobind Singh Ji's mom, yes. Any other facts anyone knows about her? I've got a Anil Kaur with the hand up.
So she was Guru Gobind Singh Ji's mother, and she actually stayed with the the youngest Sahibzade till the end, and she also gave a Shahidi, and she never lost faith in her Guru.
Very good. So such extreme devotion is what Mata Gujari, for me at least, is a character of, or why I feel like she's a giant. So she is, like Binti Kaur said, the wife of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, the mother to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. But remember, when Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji became Shaheed, Guru Gobind Singh Ji was 9 years old, and they were living in Anandpur at the time, or in Chaknanaki. And Mata Gujari Ji then had to manage the affairs of that entire area. So that entire town, after Guru Sahib died, she was the educator and she provided inspiration to the community, not just to her son, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, but to the entire community. And she is really the force behind the strength of those 2 young Chote Sahibzade. Like, we, of course, love the Chote Sahibzade, so much bravery. But it kind of imagine in your head, like our grandmothers nurturing these 2 young little boys who are separated from their family. It's just the 3 of them. They're in a cold tower. And many grandmothers might just be afraid that their children, their grandchildren, who they love so much, would die and do anything to try and protect them. But Mata Gujari Ji instills all the stories of all the Guru Sahibs before them, sings them shabads every day, every night, to make them stronger so that they are able to resist the Mughal torture and the Mughal oppression, right? So where these kids, they stood on the shoulders of Mata Gujari Ji. So Baba Zorawar Singh Ji, Baba Fateh Singh Ji drew their strength from Mata Gujari Ji, and we draw our strength from the Chote Sahibzade. But the root giant was actually Mata Gujari Ji, and in many ways she became the matriarch of the Sikh Panth. Sometimes I think we tell this story wrong of what happened in the time of the Chote Sahibzade's death. We talk about Mata Gujari. Some people will tell this story as though she's like wailing in pain at their death. But that is not really my understanding of that story. My understanding of that story is that she must have had so much relief and so much pride that her two grandchildren went in the way of always following the Guru's path. And then she was able to let go because her work had been done. That she knew that the work that she was meant here to do was completed, and that the children had gone the way they were supposed to, and now she felt like she could let go. So that's for me how I end up looking at that story. Now we're gonna go on to some maybe lesser known people. Anyone ever hear of Bibi Daler Kaur and the women of Anandpur Sahib? Anyone know of this story? Simran, you have a hand up. Do you know who she is?
I actually had my hand up because I wanted to ask you what matriarchy.
Oh, matriarch is. Oh, that's a good question, Simran. So matriarch means like the mother of the entire Sikh Panth. So like,
Okay.
you know, like a protector is kind of how you might think of your mother, and what she does for you, same kind of thing like Mata Gujari Ji did for the entire Sikh Kaum. Bibi Daler Kaur is a little bit less known of a person, of a giant. Anyone know her story? So this one, Bismillah Kaur, you can say?
Sure, yeah. When Guru Gobind Singh Ji left Anandpur Sahib, he left Bibi Daler Kaur and 100 other or 99 other Kaurs there to protect Anandpur. And so Bibi Daler Kaur and the other 99 Kaurs, Bibi Daler Kaur, obviously the general or the leader, they fought the Mughal soldiers who came trying to take over Anandpur, and they all got shaheed, but they fought really bravely, and they never gave up.
Right, very good. So it's not a well-known story, but maybe you all remember the story of Guru Gobind Singh Ji having to leave Anandpur Sahib. That's when they ended up traveling and why they got split up, and the two Chote Sahibzade went on with Mata Gujari Ji, and then the two Vadde Sahibzade went on to Chamkaur. But they had to leave that fort of Anandpur in 1705. But it wasn't customary to just leave your fort and everybody left. Guru Sahib entrusted the protection of that fort to 100 Sikh women warriors. And they knew when they took on that seva that for sure they would all be killed. But they were going to protect this fort to their last breath. And there are stories of when the Mughal army came in because they knew Guru Sahib had left, so they were going to come into the fort to loot it, to take all the weapons and all the things that were there. They went in to try and attack, but they were met with all this resistance and cannons and shots being fired from the fort. And they thought, oh my goodness, Guru Sahib didn't actually leave, and there's a whole army in there still. So they were fighting, and they finally made it to their fort, and they couldn't believe that it was 100 women who had been beating their butts this whole time. So it's pretty amazing. These women stood there at the entryway of the fort. They used every single piece of ammunition. They never let the enemy forces get any of their cannons or their ammunition. And when their guns finished and their bullets finished, they picked up their swords and they refused to be captured alive. They were going to try and protect this fort to their death. And they may not have had a physical victory, like the fort did get in the end taken over, but their spiritual victory is something of complete strength. And their courage, knowing, taking on a mission that they knew was going to end up in death, that kind of courage and valor is something that we all can draw strength from. All right, and then this is the last story I wanted to share with you before we take a quick break. Bibi Ranjit Kaur. And so after Guru Gobind Singh Ji died, there was a lot of fighting and and Mughal takeovers of the area. But there was also these invaders that had started coming in from Afghanistan. You might have heard their names. His name was Ahmed Shah Abdali. And he would come in from Kabul, come in from Afghanistan, come through India, that what was known as India at that time, and steal women, steal like gold and riches and jewels, and then loot the whole area, desecrate all these towns, and then march his way back to Afghanistan. And at the same time, the Sikhs had been dispersed into the jungles. They were just living on berries and nuts in the jungles, and they were scattered throughout, and they had formed these little jathas. And they were trying to, even though they were being oppressed by the other forces, they were still trying to protect the people of that area by attacking these caravans that Ahmed Shah Abdali would have, and return the women and children back to their homes, return the gold, return the jewels back to where they belong to. But so Ahmed Shah Abdali really felt like the Sikhs were a thorn in his side. But these different jathas that lived in different areas of the forest and the jungles, they had to have a way of communicating with each other or finding out information about where were the troops of Ahmed Shah Abdali. And Bibi Ranjit Kaur was actually a messenger for a Sikh jatha. And she would leave her jatha, that was where they were camped in the jungle, and ride her horse into the local towns, disguised, to try and find out information about where the enemy forces would be. And I just want you to think about what that means in like the middle of the night in a forest. So maybe some of you have watched Harry Potter or read Harry Potter, and you've heard of the Forbidden Forest. If you can like just imagine in your mind you going by yourself alone on a horse in the Forbidden Forest, because that's what this place was like. It's dark, it's pitch black, you can't see anything, there's no roads. This is just like riding your horse in the forest to lay low and get to a place where you can try and get information about what is going to happen next. Where are these other forces going to go? And this was the job of Bibi Ranjit Kaur. She would travel in this Forbidden Forest all by herself. Maybe many of us, I know I would be afraid. I'm afraid to even sometimes go outside just my back door into my backyard all by myself if it's pitch black. Like you hear the noise of like a raccoon and you're like, wow, right? But there's all kinds of animals. There's all kinds of soldiers in this forest, and she is going in the forest by herself to find the information. In fact, one of the times she gets some really important information, and she gets attacked by two soldiers because they figure out what she's doing, and she kills those two soldiers that were trying to attack her. She's very severely wounded, but she knows she has to get back to her camp. She has to get back to her jatha to warn them, otherwise they will all die. And she rides battered and wounded on her horse all the way back to her jatha to let them know that these are where the forces are coming, and they prepare and they are able to survive. And she is the reason that they survive. So much bravery. And I think there's a beautiful line of Shabad, Jako har rang lago is jugme, so kayat hasura. Only that person is a true warrior, is a true Sura, who is attached to Waiguru's, like to the love or the hem of Waiguru's coat. Atam jina sagal vastaka, jaka satgur pura. And through the Guru, they are able to conquer their own soul, conquer their own fears. And this is what Bibi Ranjit Kaur had. She had so much love for the Guru that all of the things that might scare us didn't scare her. And sometimes we're even scared of ourselves, like in the setting of stillness and darkness, we can be scared of nothing. But she overcame all of that because she knew that she had this responsibility to her Panth and to her Granth. So her sacrifice for me, why I think she's a giant, is because she exemplifies perseverance, which means continuing on even in times of extreme hardship, patience, and strength to serve others, even at the cost of your own life. So that's Bibi Ranjit Kaur, who I think is like an amazing Sikh giant. So the problem in figuring out our giants is that our history is fragmented. Sometimes we don't know all of the stories, and so many stories have gone unrecorded. Like we don't know the names of so many of the giants before us. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, about the giants that we have not recorded, but I wanted to show you all a little video and take a break. So this is kind of like what would be a stretch break, because I know I've been talking about so many things for the last 20 minutes. So I think it's just a little fun activity about how you guys are focusing. So I want you to watch this video. And if you've seen this little exercise before, maybe you don't have to answer the question, but the video has like a question for you to do. So maybe get out, like, just be ready with your eyes to focus, because you're going to want to answer the question. So hold on here.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make? Go! The answer is 13.
Pass. Okay. Ah! I gave the answer. How many of you were able to see the video? Who got 13? How many of you got 12? I didn't stop it in time, guys. Somebody got 12. Anybody get 14? Okay. Did anybody see something weird about the video? Was it hard to keep track of the numbers? All right, I think there's another question here for you, so hold on.
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Did anybody see a moonwalking bear? What? Come on, guys. Anybody see it? It was like right in front of your face. Anybody? No. Okay, watch. It's going to replay for you. See if you can find the moonwalking bear. Okay, so did you guys see it now, the moonwalking bear?
Yeah.
Anybody have any ideas why you didn't see it the first time? Simran Kaur?
Because we were so focused on trying to count how many passes there were that we missed out like some things.
Yes, very good. Our focus was on something completely different, right? Like the video asked us to count the number of passes. So we just focused in on that we completely didn't see all the surroundings. And so that was like a little really fun video, but does anybody can maybe guess why I tried to show that in the middle of this? Like, I was just doing it for fun. So you guys realize that we don't focus, or why did I maybe show that to you guys? Janam Singh, you have a hand up?
Because Bibi and Jeetkar, she was going out to look for information, and she didn't know like where she could find it. So like she had to be aware of her surroundings. So like no one like actually realized where the bear was, which was the main point. So like maybe she needed to look everywhere, like something maybe like that.
Okay, that's maybe one reason. Any other thoughts as to why maybe I showed this video? Amin Kaur?
I thought you showed this video because to make us more aware that there are other Sikhs out there that are role models, and then also that we could look forward to, and they are like here right now. We just don't see them because we're so focused on this one thing, and that we don't see everything else going on at that time.
Good. And Anil Kaur, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, so often when we look at history, we kind of want to look at one certain topic. Like personally, when I look at Sikh history, like these days I try focusing on 84 and that era, but sometimes I forget to, you know, like look at other parts of, you know, like Sikh history and all like the other sacrifices. So my thing is that sometimes when we go looking at history, we go looking for one thing. Maybe we should start, you know, looking, you know, farther and looking at the entire situation.
Good, I like that thought. Binti Kaur?
I just wanted to say something about the bear. I think that another reason that we didn't see it was, well, because when we were focused on finding how many passes the white team made, but also because the bear was sort of in a black colored suit, and there was a team that had black suits, so that's
Yes, good. That is another reason, because we kind of ignore the things that we were not asked to look for. So kind of a combination of what you all said. What I'm trying to, I guess, make a point about is that our history is fragmented because we don't write it down, because we don't write about the stories that happen. And sometimes we don't write about the stories that happen because we don't even see that they're happening right around us all the time. And I think sometimes, a little bit like Amin Kaur and Anil Kaur were saying, we look for maybe stories of like great valor or so much greatness before we think it's worth writing it down. But we don't see the little things that are happening all around us, the Sikh heroes that we are surrounded by. Like, we don't find out the story of that amazing Gursikh who is staying day and night in the Gurdwara to do all of our Langar Seva. We don't even know their name to write about them. We don't talk about the people that have given up so many things, who are fighting for activist causes, because we expect our history to be perfect and we expect the stories to be perfect. And when people are not perfect, we just choose not to write about them. But maybe we don't have to write about the people. We have to think and write about the actions that they do, because those small actions in that moment, what they do is so Guru inspiring and so dedicated that it is a story worth celebrating and a story worth writing down so that others can then realize the giants that came before them. And so that's my plea to all of you, because you all are really good at recording videos and writing things. And you should find these stories, find the people around you, open your eyes and look for the moon walking bear. Look for the person around you that is doing Guru Seva, because this Shabad we sing a lot. Gursaf Gurkajo Sikh Akai, So Palke or Taranam Teave. And it ends with this beautiful line, Jananak Tur Mangatis Gursikh Ki, Jo Aap Japa Avra Nam Japave. Meaning, we don't need to be the ones that are the Aap Japa Avra Nam Japave. We need to find those Gursikhs who are doing that, because in being around them and being around their stories, they will serve as giants for us, so that we can also follow in their footsteps, so that we can become that Gursat Gurkajo Sikh Akai. So we can become those. It's only by looking for these people. But if we don't open up our eyes to look for these stories, if we don't look for those giants, we will never find them. And that is really our job. Not to strive to be the one who inspires, but to find the ones who inspire us. And in doing so, we will accomplish a lot. So that's really what I had for today. I don't know if there's any questions. We maybe have like a couple minutes, because then I know we need to wrap up. But I want to thank you all for how patiently you all sat through that. I didn't realize how long it went. Any questions? Okay, then I guess if there are no questions or comments, we'll move on. Just one last Shabad we're going to share with you, or Vad. It's a by Gurdas Ji Vad. A little bit about why learning our history and learning about these Gursikhs is so helpful. Ho sadge tina Gursikha, Sadguru no mil aap gawaya. We want to be a sacrifice to those Gursikhs who, when they met the Guru, when they became connected to the Guru, they lost their ego. Ho sadge tina Gursikha, Karan Udasi Andar Maya. we sacrifice or we pay homage to those Gursikhs who, even though they were living amongst all this Maya, they didn't get captured by it. Ho sadke tina Gursikha, Gurmat Gurcharni Chitlaya. I sacrifice to those Gursikhs who concentrated constantly, didn't use their manmat, but used Gurmat to focus on the Guru. Ho sadke tina Gursikha, Gursikh de Gursikh milaya. I revere those Gursikhs who taught the stories of the Guru, who taught the teachings of the Guru and helped others meet the Guru. Bibi Amro. Ho sadke tina Gursikham, bar janda varaj rahaya. I revere those Gursikhs who resisted like all of the crazy thoughts in the head, in the brain. Ho sadke tina Gursikha, asa vich niras valaya. I sacrifice to those Gursikhs who stayed unattached even while living in all of this hopes and desires. Satgur ka updesh daraya. And in those hopes and desires, they remained indifferent to them and instead relied solely on the teachings of the Guru. And this is really the art or the true story of a Gursikh. This is why people like Bibi Amro, Mata Kiwi, Bibi Dalar Kaur, Bibi Ranjit Kaur existed, because they were so steadfast to the Updesa of the Guru. So think of that as we do Suhela. And if anyone has any comments or questions about the amazing giants of our history, we can let me know, and I'm sure to connect with you otherwise. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ ਤੁਧ ਆਗੇ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਹਮਾਰੀ ਜਿਉ ਪਿੰਡ ਸਭ ਤੇਰਾ ਕਉ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਭ ਤੇਰੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਕੋਈ ਨਾਮ ਨ ਜਾਣੈ ਮੇਰਾ
ਅਰਦਾਸ ਏਕ ਓਂਕਾਰ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਭਗਉਤੀ ਜੀ ਸਹਾਇ ਵਾਰ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਭਗਉਤੀ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹੀ 10ਵੀਂ। ਪ੍ਰਥਮ ਭਗਉਤੀ ਸਿਮਰ ਕੈ ਗੁਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਲਈ ਧਿਆਏ, ਫਿਰ ਅੰਗਦ ਗੁਰ ਤੇ ਅਮਰਦਾਸ ਰਾਮਦਾਸ ਹੈ ਹੋਏ ਸਹਾਇ। ਅਰਜਨ ਹਰ ਗੋਬਿੰਦਨੋ ਸਿਮਰੋ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਹਰਿ ਰਾਏ, ਸ੍ਰੀ ਹਰਿ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਧਿਆਈਐ ਜਿਸ ਡਿਠੈ ਸਭ ਦੁਖ ਜਾਏ। ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਸਿਮਰਿਐ ਕਰ ਨੌ ਨਿਧ ਆਵੈ ਤਾਏ, ਸਭ ਥਾਈਂ ਹੋਏ ਸਹਾਇ। ਦਸਾਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਸਭ ਥਾਈਂ ਹੋਏ ਸਹਾਇ। ਦਸਵੇਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਜੋਤ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਪਾਠ ਦੀਦਾਰ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਧਰ ਕੇ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਪੰਜਾਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਆਂ ਚੌਹਾਂ ਸਾਹਿਬਜ਼ਾਦਿਆਂ 40 ਮੁਖਤਿਆਂ ਹੱਟੀਆਂ ਜੱਪੀਆਂ ਤੱਪੀਆਂ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਿਆ ਵੰਡ ਛਕਿਆ, ਦੇਗ ਚਲਾਈ ਤੇਗ ਵਾਹੀ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਅੰਡਟ ਕੀਤਾ। ਤਿਨਾਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਆਂ ਸਚਿਆਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਧਰ ਕੇ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਸਿੰਘਣੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਧਰਮ ਹੇਤ ਸੀਸ ਦਿੱਤੇ, ਬੰਦ ਬੰਦ ਕਟਾਏ, ਖੋਪਰੀਆਂ ਲੋਹਾਈਆਂ ਚਰਖੜੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਚੜੇ, ਆਰਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਚਰਾਏ ਗਏ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਲਈ ਕੁਰਬਾਨੀਆਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ, ਧਰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਾਰਿਆ, ਸਿੱਖੀ ਕੇਸਾਂ ਸਵਾਸਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਨਿਭਾਈ। ਤਿਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਧਰ ਕੇ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਪੰਜਾਂ ਤਖਤਾਂ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਧਰ ਕੇ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਪ੍ਰਥਮੇ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਸਰਬੱਤ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਕੋ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਚਿਤ ਆਵੈ ਚਿਤ ਆਵਨ ਕਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਸਭ ਸੁਖ ਹੋਵੇ। ਜਹਾਂ ਜਹਾਂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤਹਾਂ ਤਹਾਂ ਰਚਿਆ ਰਿਆਇਤ। ਦੇਗ ਤੇਗ ਫਤਿਹ ਬਿਰਦ ਕੀ ਪੈਜ ਪੰਥ ਕੀ ਜੀਤ। ਸ੍ਰੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਸਹਾਇ ਖਾਲਸੇ ਜੀ ਕੇ ਬੋਲ ਬਾਲੇ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦਾਨ, ਕੇਸ ਦਾਨ, ਰਹਿਤ ਦਾਨ, ਵਿਵੇਕ ਦਾਨ, ਵਿਸਾਦ ਦਾਨ, ਭਰੋਸਾ ਦਾਨ, ਦਾਨਾ ਸਿਰ ਦਾਨ, ਨਾਮ ਦਾਨ, ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ਨਾਨ। ਚੌਂਕੀਆਂ ਝੰਡੇ ਬੁੰਗੇ ਜੁਗੋ ਜੁਗ ਅਟਲ, ਧਰਮ ਕਾ ਜੈਕਾਰ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਨ ਨੀਵਾਂ ਮੱਤ ਉੱਚੀ ਮੱਤ ਪਾਤਾ ਰਾਖਾ ਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। हे अकाल पुरख दीन दयाल करण कारण पतित पावन किरपा निधान जी अपने पंथ ते सदा सहाय ਦਾਤਾਰ ਜੀਓ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਨਨਕਾਣਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਗੁਰਧਾਮਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਪੰਥ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਛੋੜਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਦੀਦਾਰ ਤੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਦਾ ਦਾਨ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ हे ਨਿਮਾਣਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਮਾਣ ਨਿਤਾਣਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਤਾਣ ਨਿਓਟਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਓਟ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਿਤਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਹਜ਼ੂਰ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਰਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਰਹਿਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਅਤੇ ਰਾਮਕਲੀ ਕੀ ਵਾਰ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਅੱਖਰ ਵਾਧਾ ਘਾਟਾ ਪੁੱਚਕ ਮਾਫ ਕਰਨੀ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਨੇ ਸਹੀ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਮੇਲ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਤੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਚਿਤ ਆਵੈ ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਭਾਣੇ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦਾ ਭਲਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋ ਨਿਹਾਲ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਅੰਬਵਰ ਖੰਡਰੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿਨਾਰ ਸਾਈ ਟੋਲ ਤਨ ਜੜਾਈ ਆਪਣੇ ਹਸ ਸਜਣ ਟੋਲ ਸ਼ਲੋਕ ਮਹਿਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾਂ ਉਸਤਤ ਨਿੰਦਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਹਵ ਵੰਜਾਏ ਛੋੜਿਆ ਹਵ ਕਿਛ ਕਿਜ ਤਿਆਗੀ ਹਵੇ ਸਾਖ ਕੂਰਾ ਵੈ ਡਿਠੇ ਤੋ ਪੱਲੇ ਤੈਂਡੇ ਲਾਗੀ ਮਹਿਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾਂ ਫਿਰਦੀ ਫਿਰਦੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਜੀਓ ਹੋ ਫਾਵੀ ਥੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਦਿਲ ਸਾਵਰ ਪੰਦਾ ਤਾਹੋ ਸੁਖ ਸੁਖਾਲੀ ਸੁਤੀ ਜਾ ਗੁਰ ਮਿਲ ਸਜਣ ਹੈ ਲਦਾ ਪੋੜੀ ਸਭੈ ਦੁਖ ਸਿੰਥਾਪ ਜਾ ਤੁਦੋ ਪੁਲਿਆ ਜੇ ਕੀਚਨ ਲਖ ਉਪਾਵਤਾ ਕਹੀ ਨ ਕੁਲਿਆ ਜਿਸਨੋ ਵਿਸਰੈ ਨਾਉ ਸੋ ਨਿਰਤਨ ਕਾਂਡੀਐ ਜਿਸਨੂੰ ਵਿਸਰੈ ਨਾ ਸੁਨੋ ਜੋ ਨਾ ਹਾਂਡੀਐ ਜਿਸ ਖਸਮ ਨਾ ਆਵੈ ਚਿਤ ਜਮ ਡੰਦੇ ਜਿਸ ਜਮ ਡੰਤੇ ਜਿਸ ਖਸਮ ਨਾ ਆਵੀ ਚਿਤ ਰੋਗੀ ਸੇ ਗੁਨੇ ਜਿਸ ਖਸਮ ਨਾ ਆਵੀ ਚਿਤ ਸੁਖ ਖਰੋ ਅਹੰਕਾਰਿਆ ਸੋਈ ਦੁਹਿਲਾ ਜਗ ਜਨ ਨਾਉ ਵਿਸਾਰਿਆ ਸੋਈ ਦੁਹਿਲਾ ਜਗ ਜਨ ਨਾਉ ਵਿਸਾਰਿਆ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਕੀਰਤਨ ਸੋਹਿਲਾ ਰਾਗ ਗੌਰੀ ਦੀਪ ਕੀ ਮਹਿਲਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜੈ ਘਰ ਕੀਰਤ ਆਖਿਏ ਕਰਤੇ काय होय विचारो तित घर गावो सोहिला सिवरो सिरजनहारो तुम गावो मेरे निर्भोखा सोहिला हो वारी जित सोहेले सदा सुख होए रहाओ नित नित जीरे संभालियन देखिया गा देवनहार तेरे दाने कीमत ना पवे तिस ताते कवन समार संबत साहा लिखिया मिलकर पावो तेल ਦੇ ਸੱਜਣ ਅਸੀਸਿਆ ਜੇ ਹੋਵੇ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਿਓ ਮੇਲ ਕਰ ਕਰ ਇਹੋ ਪੋਛਾ ਸਦਈ ਨਿਤ ਪਵਨ ਸਦਨ ਹਾਰ ਸਿਮਰਿਏ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੇ ਦੇ ਆਵਣ
आसम वाला पहला राग आसम वाला पहला छह घर छह गुरु छह उपदेश गुर गुर एको वेस अनेक बाबा जय घर करते कीरत होए सो कर आप उड़ाई तोए रहाओ विसिए जिसिया करया पैरा तिती वारी मोहवा सूरज एको रत अनेक नानक करते के वेस
राग श्री पहला गगन में था रवचंद दीपक बने तारका मंडल जनक मोती धूप मल आन लो पवन चवरो करे सगल बन राय फुलंत ज्योति कैसी आरती होए पवखंड ना तेरी आरती अनहत्ता शब्द वाजंत पेड़ी रहाओ सैस तव नैन नन नैन है तो एको सैस मूरत नन्ना एक तो ही सैस पद बिमल नन एक पद गंध बिन सैस तव गंध इव चलत मोही सब में जोत है सोए तिस्ते चानन सब में चानन होए गुर साखी जोत प्रगट होए ज्योतिष पावे सो आरती होए अचरण कवल मकरंद लोभित मनो अंधनो मोहे आही प्यासा कृपा जल दे नानक सारिंग को होए जाते तेरे नाई वासा
राग गौरी पुरबी महला चौथा। काम क्रोध नगर पोपरियम साधु खंडल खंडा है। पूरब लिखत लिखे गुर पाया मन हर ले मंडल मंडा है। कर साधु अंजलि पन वडा है कड़न डोट पन वडा है रहाओ। साकत थर रस साध न जानिया तन अंतर हो मैं खंडा है। जो जो चले चुप पैर तुक पावे झुमकाल है सिर टंडा है। हर जन हर हर नाम समाने दुख जन्म मरण पव खंडा है। अब नासी परित पाया परमेश्वर वो सोम खंड ब्रह्मंडा है। हम गरीब मस्कीन प्रभ तेरे हर राख राख वड्डा है। जो नानक नाम उदार ते टेक है हर नाम में ही सुख मंडा है।
रागोरी पूबी मल्ल पंचमा करो बनंती सोर मेरे मीता संत हल की बेला इहा काट चलो हल्ला आगे वसन सुहेला ओदकटे दिनसरे नारे मन को मिल काज सवारे रो ये संसार विकास से में तरियो ब्रह्म ज्ञानी जिसे जगाए प्यावे ऐसा खत कथा न जानी जाको आए सोए भी हाजो हर करते मने बसेरा निज कमल पोसक सेजे पूर्णोय को फेरा अंतर्जामी पुरख बिदाते श्रद्धा मन की पूरे नानक दास है सुख मागे मुख कर संतन की धूम अंतर्जामी पुरख बिदाते श्रद्धा मन की पूरे नानक दास है सुख मागे मुख कर संतन की धूम।
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
We'll see hopefully everybody tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for Nithanim. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,
Waਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।